Second time.
Yeah.
Second time's a charm. No, third time's a charm. Second time is just where we are.
Yeah.
So,
Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like.
Welcome to Drunk Bitches Be Like. I'm Brandy.
I'm Mindy.
And this is all about two women, a few beers, some tipsy stories, and some drunk ideas.
Welcome. So my lovely co-host has been editing because it was a drunken shit show our first time. It actually wasn't as much of a shit show as I thought it was going to turn into.
No,
we were
it was
actually, good. Yeah, it was not bad. So I know that I do have some friends that are highly anticipating the timing. And I was like, yeah, let us get a couple under our belts and then we'll
start posting.
Yeah.
I will say, so I'm used to editing video more, which comes with audio.
We're not doing video ever.
And we are
unless
never doing
this
video.
becomes a job, like if Heidelberg wants to sponsor us.
Right. Great.
No.
Otherwise, nope, don't want to be on camera. But I'm so used to editing video and stuff like that. So when I sit down to edit just audio, it's a very weird kind of thing because I'm used to being able to see something while it's happening, and I'm like, I have to I found myself closing my eyes and just listening because I'm like, I don't have anything to look at right now while I'm doing this. So
would it be easier for you if we just set up a camera and did it through that?
And then the whole thing.
And then just do audio?
Yeah, and I'll just edit the audio with the video, and then I'll just take the video away and
Yeah, there we go.
That might work really well for me.
It's hard to tell. So part of what podcasts I think have taken away from a visual medium is that much like with texting, even though you have voice inflection, some people think you can read their face through sounds. Mm-hmm. And you cannot, there are some things that you can read through sound. Having grown up in a customer service industry, I was always told that when you're on the phone, smile when you talk to people because you can hear a smile.
Oh my God, I have the best phone voice when I'm working. Best phone voice. I sound like the sweetest, most wonderful person.
Oh, give us, hey, I'm calling you and I need this done immediately. So, hey.
Hi, how are you doing? How can I help you?
Oh my God, that's so great. This is going to shit and I really need you to help me put it back together.
Absolutely. I totally understand what you're going through and I'm here to help you. Just let me know what it is that I can do for you and we will make it happen. I am the best on the phone, but the second that you're looking at my face, because the entire time I'm saying that, I'm rolling my eyes and just oh my God, what does this person want? I don't want to help them.
I like when it's always the easiest thing and you're like, of course we can help you do that. Yeah, I go into, so let's see, that's a fine line that we walk. So I went into customer service for software at some point in my life and it's fine. It was great. I was not technical. And I was working in a field that they called it a technical support desk. And once I was there, I was like, nah, dog, you're a software support desk, but you are not a technical support desk. Because if you were, you wouldn't have hired me. So, I was the only clinical person who worked in that desk and, or at that desk. And so there were some things that people just didn't understand. But what they really didn't understand is that the people they were talking to, I had no idea what computers did. So we would hear stories about and then I told the doctor to click his mouse, right click his mouse on the screen and he lifted up his mouse and clicked the right button while it was on the screen. God. And I realize these are horror stories that a lot of people have talked about with their users, but I got to a certain point where I did not like people that were calling. Nobody wants certain aspects of customer service. People do not want anybody being disrespected. There's a certain group of people that I'm like, do not disrespect them. They went to school for 12 years. You did not.
Right.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
They didn't go to school to learn how to run a computer. They went to school to learn how to operate on your brain.
Right.
And frankly, I can't do brain surgery. So,
right. So don't expect them to have to do surgery on the computer.
So don't do that. But I would also come across a segment of folks that were calling in that I was I would put on my kindergarten teacher voice where I'd be like, okay. So because they would be so upset about something that was incredibly trivial, but to them, perception being reality. Thank you, Dr. Phil. Perception is reality. And they were wigged out. And I'd be like, okay. Here's what you're right. You're absolutely right. That is, it's very difficult to do, but let's walk through it together. I'm going to need you to click on the button that says this All right. Did you see the menu that opened up? Awesome. That is so great. So can you click on the words that say this? Great. Now the screen that you're looking at does this. And do you see where you put the name in? Awesome. And when you put the name in, do you see how it comes up with a search? Great. Did you find the person? Awesome. Awesome. See, it's okay. And
I feel
my
like that's
coworkers
a longer
hated me.
process that I would be willing to go through. Although I will say, so I worked in a somewhat similar job, except for it wasn't computer software that I had to explain. One of the first jobs I got out of college was working at a company where I was on a very small marketing team. So I do marketing. And I was on the marketing team for a certain product line. And we only had, I want to say 8 to 10 products in the line that we sold. And it was a very specific thing. But there was, like, we were the manufacturer, and there was distributors, and then there were end users. So end users would have to call the distributors that they bought the machines from to try and do that kind of stuff. But the distributors, if they had issues with things, like, they would call us and they're like, I don't know how to do this. Well, most of the time it was an end user that came to the distributor and was like, I don't know how to use this. And then the distributor would turn around and just call us and be like, I don't know how to use this. And I'm like, so I had manuals for every single machine that we had sold in our product line at my desk. So most of my day, like, I did some marketing things, but most of my day was filled with answering phone calls from distributors. Like, we don't know how to use this. Like, it's not doing this thing or whatever. And, like, I would literally open the manual. And, like, after 2 months, I feel like we got to the point where I had all of them memorized. So people would call me and I'm like, all right, so what I need you to do is turn it off. The button is on the right-hand side on the back, on the lower end. All right, you see the button? Yep. Okay, turn it off. Leave it plugged in. All right, I'm going to need you to wait 30 seconds.
Did you do the Jeopardy theme while you were?
I mean, I really wish I would have. That would have been great. But then it was like, okay, now I need you to turn it back on. Okay. All right, is it working now? Yes. Okay, fantastic. We just reset it. I'm like, most of my job was doing the, like, typical IT, turn it off and turn it back on again.
Right.
Yeah. And then the other troubleshooting stuff, like, everything I ever solved was in a manual that they had. They just didn't bother to read. So they would call me. I would read the manual as I was talking to them. And I would literally go through the troubleshooting section at the back of the manual and be like, oh, this is your problem. Okay. So here's step number 1. Here's step number 2. And they would follow the steps like I was telling them what to do when I was literally reading it out of the manual that they had.
You're a genius.
Oh my God. I was the miracle worker. And everybody was like, oh, you're so good at this. And I'm like, yes, that's great.
Yes, I'm great. Yeah. No,
I can read.
You know what, though? It probably changed your behavior. It changed my behavior. One of the things that I hate most about Facebook is anytime you post a photo of something that has a name or a logo in it and somebody goes, ooh, what's that? You probably could have Googled that. Yeah. So my fiance, I get to call him that now, ring pending, but my fiance sent me the site, let me Google that for you so that you can send that to them. And it literally, like, types into Google for them and then shows them what the results are and then shows you selecting a result. Somebody had done that to me. I put up those fancy car mats that you can get.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, what are those? And I was like, literally the name of them is in it. I would have Googled that first. Or when people ask anything.
Right.
That is very simple. Now, I do have some friends that are like, look, can you tell me blah, blah, blah when they text me? And then they'll say, I Googled it first, but I'm not really sure. And I was like, all right, as long as we cover those bases.
Fine. As long as you Googled it first. So my old boss used to have a saying, and it was really great because nobody else could figure it out. But we would walk around the office and somebody would say something or they would ask a question. He would like, GTS.
Google that shit.
Google that shit. And it was like... Yep, GTS, that shit. Yep, just GTS. Yep, you could have figured that out on your own.
Oh, my God.
And honestly, it took longer for me to answer your question than it would have if you just Googled it in the first place.
Right. And you had to listen to me, like, give you exposition, and I have ADHD, and I told you 7 stories on my way to the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, during the month of February, we're sponsoring a progressive trivia tournament at Star City Brewing Company in Miamisburg, Ohio. You can go on down to the bar to play, or you can play online, however you want to do it. However, you do get bonus points if you're in the bar while you're doing it. It's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. during the whole month of February. They have 4 rounds of trivia, and winners each round get a prize. At the end of the month, it is a progressive tournament, so your points will accumulate, and at the end, the first, second, and third place teams will win gift cards. Now, these are gift cards that are used at Miamisburg, Ohio businesses. So if you're not local, you can still go online and play, but you might not want the prize for the progressive tournament. But still go on and play because, you know, it's a good time. If you want to join in the fun on Tuesday nights, just go to one of our social media sites and we will link to the site to go online and you can play online.
Woo.
Nice. I like it. So we need to back up because before we started the podcast, we were talking about this, and then we had to take pee breaks and get more drinks and whatever else.
Drinking while podcasting is difficult because pee.
Yeah, there's lots of pee breaks. So we were talking about, you said ring pending. So you are engaged. You're getting married.
We are getting married.
In the planning process. But you said something also that made me take pause because you were like, oh, previously. And I was like, wait, you've been married before? And you were like, nope, engaged twice. And I was like, what?
Yeah. So first of all, nobody gets, I don't know if you hear this and we have our Twitter up and our Instagram up. We do. You can always feel free to message me. I am in my very late 40s and I'm getting married for the very first time.
Don't look a day over 20.
Thanks. So I that's not what the guy told me when I went to go look. My eyes looked at. I was like, can you do my upper lids? And he was like, have you thought about doing your lower lids? And I was like, no, we're not doing this with you now, dude. So I had thrown out there that the dress I had the first time, and you were like, wait, you were married? And I was like, nope. Just get engaged a lot. So I got engaged the day I graduated high school.
Oh, wow.
A very long time ago. The person who proposed to me proposed by tossing me a little brown paper bag, like the little slip ones that you get your pastries in.
Like a poop bag?
No, like a little, you know, the ones you get your pastries in from Starbucks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was that with a little tiny velvet box in it. And he tossed it to me in front of my entire family. Maybe
That's
because
bold.
he was afraid to propose to a 17-year-old. I graduated in June, didn't turn 18 till July.
Oh, you were youngin'.
I was a child, and he was only 3 years older than I am, and this is clearly never going to work out.
Right.
So he tossed it to me and said, "I don't know. Do you wanna?"
I mean,
so I opened the bag.
Starting out with I don't know is kind of a bad sign.
Right. So he had a mullet. There were more than one sign that this shouldn't have happened. I mean, I'm going to date myself. Let's go ahead and do that. It was 1990, so mullets probably weren't.
They weren't like
we did hair
horrible
bands.
then.
So yeah, mullets,
Yeah.
everybody had a mullet.
It was still a thing.
Billy Ray became a thing.
Achy Breaky Heart was huge.
Blake
back
Shelton
then,
had a
right?
mullet then.
Yes.
Blake Shelton hadn't even been discovered yet. So he threw me a ring box basically in a brown paper bag in front of my grandparents, my parents, and my aunts and uncles and said, "I don't know, do you wanna?" And then I cried over it because I'm literally not being materialistic, but I was 17 and he gave me a I was
going to say, I feel like the period's going to go first.
I thought it was, I was going to say 1 point, but that was a promise ring. He gave me a 1 point promise ring at some point during our relationship, all 1 year of it. And then he gave me this teeny tiny little thing, and it was so cute and it was adorable. And I weighed 110 pounds. So it looked, it looked big on my finger, whatever.
Yeah.
So I said yes. And then we spent 2 years fighting. Until I said no.
Right. I mean, that makes sense.
So that one ended in me not shoving. I was very polite. I slid them over to him because he was like, "Are you telling me you don't want to get married?" And I slid them over to him and said, "One day to somebody, but not to you." And then I left because I'm not in a confrontation and that was not a good relationship. But the wedding dress that I actually bought, I got engaged to a boy I went to high school with. As was the first one. But I got engaged to a boy I went to high school with. I joined the Air Force so that I could see all of Texas.
Oh.
Which is, I got a great tour of Texas. I saw San Antonio.
San Antonio. Where else did you live in Texas?
And then Shepherd Air Force Base, Wichita Falls, Texas. Those are the only points of Texas I saw. I saw a lot of Texas between San Antonio and Wichita Falls on a bus.
Okay. I was a Air Force kid.
Okay.
I lived in Abilene for 3 years.
Oh, okay. Abilene is
very north in the Panhandle. There's literally nothing else around there. However, they have an excellent zoo that is literally 1 mile around. When you go in, like you walk in, you go over a bridge that goes over the giraffe enclosure, which is great because you can feed the giraffes.
Oh, they lick you?
They lick you.
Oh,
you get to buy animal crackers at the gate. You get to feed the giraffes. And then it is literally a 1 mile loop around the zoo. And then you leave again.
Nice. Yeah. Abilene. What base is in Abilene?
That's a good question.
I just keep thinking of the one that has the firefighting academy, but I don't think that's the right one.
I don't know. And honestly, at this point, they might not even still be there. Who knows?
Oh, who knows? I mean, with closures and stuff. Yeah. And you were just a baby. I was probably in high school, but you were just a baby.
Well, that's the thing. My sister's Air Force base that she was born on doesn't exist anymore.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. And she was born in California.
At least they're not trying to rename it. I mean, because it was named after a Confederate general. So, there's those. But yeah, so I knew him in high school. He was 2 years behind me. Okay. We're talking about fiance number 2.
Yeah.
He was 2 years behind me. I got drunk one night at a bar because this is the theme of my life. It worked out. The gentleman who brought me back on base was a cop, an Air Force cop.
Yeah.
But a cop nonetheless. And he was from Worcester, Ohio.
Oh, I love Worcester.
Worcester.
They have a great McDonald's.
Do they really?
Yeah. So when my parents got divorced, Worcester was one of the points that we always drove through. And it was like, if it was late at night and it was dinner time, like we'd always stop in Worcester.
So you have like PTSD when you drive by that?
Yeah. Well, they've since built a bypass.
Oh, nice. So you just go right past it.
You don't go by the McDonald's anymore, which it's actually a little sad.
You like bypassed your childhood pain.
We bypassed it. Yeah. I was like, all right, well, now I got a freeway. I can go 70 miles an hour right past that sucker. I don't have to go 45 anymore. It's great.
It reminds me of Grosse Point Blank, where he shows up at his spoiler alert for a movie that was made in 1993. Where he shows up at where his childhood home was, and he says, you can't go home, but you can shop there because it's a convenience store. So yeah, the guy from Worcester brought me back to base, and he asked where I was from, and I told him where my hometown is, and we're not going to say that on here, because if you dox us, there will be some retribution.
I swear to God, if there's any stalking that happens after this podcast,
don't stalk us and don't try and discover who we are, and don't tell other people. That's just rude.
I will tell you one thing: I don't believe in guns. I don't like using them, but I'm very good at using them. So
there you go.
Yeah.
I live with somebody who's ready for the zombie apocalypse. So bring it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he asked me where I was from, and I told him, and he was like, I know somebody else that's from that same small town, keeping in mind that we were a village for a very long time. We didn't become a town. God, I was in my 20s. I think when we became a town, we got 5,000 people.
Ooh,
we were very happy.
Moving up in the world.
And now it's grown. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's been in between a village, a town, and then we're not a city. So he said that he knew this guy that was from my hometown. So he takes me drunk to this person's door, knocks on their door, and says, hey, she went to the same high school as you. Do you know her? And it turned out he was this guy that was 2 years behind me in high school. And all the guy said was like, didn't you used to have longer hair? And then we started dating.
Wow.
I mean, there was probably some type of segue in there, but there wasn't much of a segue because at 23, whatever.
And let's be honest, this was before social media and everything. So,
right.
The time it took to get from meeting each other to dating was not the same.
This is true. We should explain that to children.
Yeah.
If somebody moved away, they were away. They were gone.
That was it.
You didn't, unless you knew their mama, and I did not know his mama.
Yeah.
And I won't speak bad about his mama because she's passed on, but I have some stuff to say. But we'll keep that private. So he and I started dating. Mm-hmm. Then he got in trouble. And I thought that was an excellent time for us to talk about getting married.
Yeah.
And he proposed while he was in a military jail.
Oh.
And I thought that was an excellent time to accept.
Oh, God.
And then I planned a wedding. Although by the time I started
did you buy another dress? That's my question.
So I never bought a dress for the first one.
Well, why? Okay, I thought you had picked. Did you pick
out
out a dress?
The dress was for the second one.
The dress was for the second one.
Yes.
Okay.
So I did go and pick out a dress.
Okay.
By the way, the woman who sold me the dress told me I had a swimmer's figure, which was the nice way of saying that I have broad shoulders, no waist, no tits.
Oh.
Which at the
That's
time
rude.
was completely true. Now I have broad shoulders, a lot of waist, and huge boobs. So, Joke's on her. So I got a dress. I got the whole thing. We sent out invitations. We planned on him coming home and like what he was going to do for a job. I got his alcoholic acid job as a bouncer at the bar I worked at. Oh. I was 23. I wasn't smart.
I mean, if he's an alcoholic, being a bouncer at a bar might not be the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's just say the fact that his mom and his stepdad were alcoholics didn't help either.
Yeah, that would also put a little hitch.
Yeah.
And
if anybody young is listening, just know that if his family and your family are not slightly similar, it's probably not going to work out.
Yeah.
So I bought the dress. We did the invitations. We bought a lot of decorations. And the entire time I was losing interest in doing this entire event. Having ADHD and trying to get married probably doesn't go all that well together either. Yeah. But it was a mistake. It was just a mistake in the making. And he came home and we spent 2 nights together at my house. My parents were gone on vacation. So he spent 2 nights at my house. We had to work together one night. He got trashed. When you're doing cement mixers voluntarily, you're trashed.
Yeah.
And then couldn't understand why I was upset. My dumbass. I should have taken some ownership, but I did not at that point in time. And then within 3 days of him coming home, I had called off our entire wedding.
Oh, God.
We were, I failed to mention, we were getting married the first week of August. This was the weekend of July 4th that I called off the wedding. My parents came home. I had sent him away with my car and was like, just take your ass back to your mama because I cannot deal with you right now. And there was a lot of drama that happened there, but my parents came home. I told them what was happening. My dad said, well, better this than getting divorced. And I was like, yeah. My mom was like, we've never even met him.
They hadn't met him?
No.
I feel like at that point, that's like, I feel like that's
he
a
was
good
in
indication.
Jail.
Yeah, that's,
so, I mean,
yeah, he was in jail. So that's you really couldn't introduce him to the family. Right. Like, you're not going to take the whole family to jail.
Oh, wait. If none of you,
let's go visit.
And if none of you have ever been an only child, this is what it's like to grow up in a middle class, slightly privileged home of an only child. My parents were okay. My parents knew he was in military jail.
And they were good with it.
That's just whatever I wanted. My mom and dad always took the route of if we pose a lot of resistance, this is probably more me than them. If they pose a lot of resistance, I would just oppositional resistance. Like whatever anyway. You push on me, I will push against you or I will pull just as hard.
Yeah.
So like a dog on a leash, I'm like, oh, you pulled me. I'm going to pull the opposite direction as much as you can.
Yeah.
So they pretty much let me do whatever I want. So yeah, they came home. I had to send out mail because email wasn't a big thing in 1990
and you had already sent out invitations.
Something. I sent out 350 invitations because we were young, dumb, and invited everybody we knew. Oh. Yeah. We invited everybody we knew. And I sent out messages to, let's see, by the time this happened, I had sent out 350 invitations and had 125 response cards back.
Wow.
So we probably should have had more response cards back than that, but still, 1/3 of our people said they were coming with guests, and I had to send only to my people. I told him, deal with your own people. So I sent out a message to all of my friends and family with postage stamps.
Yeah.
It's the fun of drinking.
Roll.
With the roll of postage stamps. And I just sent out.
Kids these days don't know about the roll because like there's sheets now. Right. There's in sheets.
They didn't know anything about stamps. No. They don't mail shit.
The rolls were great.
Yeah. So I had, my mom had postcards printed out and I made postcards that said, this event has been permanently postponed or canceled. I forget what the wording was. And he said, what am I supposed to tell my people? And I was like, I don't care. It's your fucking problem.
It's your people. You tell them whatever the fuck you want.
Tell them your drunk ass couldn't stay sober, which isn't really true. I didn't want to be there. So that's the whole thing. I got a dress. I love the dress.
Yeah.
I still have the dress. Mm-hmm. I'm never going to be a bridal gown size 12 again.
Yeah.
Because that's like a size 4.
Yeah.
Any women we know that.
I'm sorry. Here's the thing. So
my boobs will not fit into that.
When my sister got married, I was a maid of honor, right?
I'm sorry. I mean, it was a good event, but maid of honor is never.
I was okay being maid of honor. I was actually really excited about it. But as far as the dress goes, like the dress was great. Love the dress.
Did you get some say in it?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
So it was great. I love the color. I love the cut. Everything was great. Except for the fact that when you went to go order the dress, I understand what you're saying about the whole fact of like, oh, it's a size 12, which means yours is a size 4. They ordered me a size 22.
Yes. Oh, in case there are gentlemen listening, when you order a gown, number one, it is vastly, it's horrible. The sizing is horrible. Dudes, when you get a 36 pant, it give or take half an inch, it's a 36 pant.
No.
But when you're a woman, not only is the gown size vastly inflated, but they go by your widest measurement and then they just take it in all the other places. And then they're
like, we're going to like make you spend a crap ton of money to like adjust this and make sure it fits. So that's where I got super pissed, because I am literally at my biggest size right now, and I am in between a size 14 and a 16.
Right.
All right. So when I was in my sister's wedding, which was years ago, I was maybe a size 10, 12.
Oh, yeah.
They had me order a size 22.
Oh, I feel you.
And then they like adjusted it. But the problem is when they alter it and adjust it, it doesn't fit the same.
No.
As it does when you get like the size that actually fits you.
And they're like, it's only one day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck you. That's a lot of money for just one day.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
But for your poor parents, they were the ones who were paying for it. Not only did they have to pay for a wedding dress or like contribute, they were like, and you're going to be in it too?
Right.
Damn it.
And then it's like, okay, and now we're spending this much money on your dress, but then we also have to spend the exact same amount of money, or if not more, on the I swear my alterations cost more than the damn dress.
I tried to get alterations. I was a maid of honor in a wedding, and it was post boob job, but before they got to the size that they are supposed to be. In case you don't know, when you get a boob job,
they swell.
Yeah, they swell. Your skin has to allow them to expand, because I went in a 38A, I came out a 38B, and that was not what I paid for. But 3 years later, I was 38 triple D. It was a sad story of I told them to do whatever they could fit in there, and they sure did. But so I was like sitting at a Sea World, and I went and got the gown, and I was like, it's strapless. And she said, wear the bra you're going to wear. And I did. And she was like, oh, we can't really take this dress anymore. So I went down the aisle holding my dress under my armpits because it was strapless to keep it from going on. Now, here's what was awesome. In my cleavage, because I had so much room, I had a Razor cell phone. That'll date the day. I had a Razor. Oh, not really, because Razors are back, but the original Razor flip phone. They came back. The original Razor flip phone. I had stuck in there. I had a pack of cigarettes and a lighter.
Nice.
All in my cleavage.
Wait, was the lighter in the pack of cigarettes? Because that's where I always kept mine.
No, I just kind of had them all tucked in there.
I felt like when I got to a new pack of cigarettes and I couldn't fit the lighter in the cigarettes, I had to like chain smoke some so that I could fit the lighter into the cigarette
pack. Or you shove them in the cellophane.
Yeah, into the cellophane thing. But then everything would squish a little bit, and it was like, meh, I don't like that.
Yeah. So then we replaced our cigarettes with our cell phones, and both of them give you breast cancer.
Yep.
It's true. So I still have that wedding dress. I like it. As you were saying about the size, it was a size 12 wedding gown. I was a size 5 girl back in the day. I had no boobs.
So I've never gone through the wedding thing, but the bridesmaid thing I did go through. And then also when I was in high school, so my mom was always very much so, she wanted to make sure we were happy and a little over the top sometimes. Her mom was not the greatest at remembering birthdays and things.
Oh, see, having not a neglectful parent, but having a World War II parent is not always the warm fuzzy that you would expect it to be.
Well, so that's the thing though. My mom, like, because her mom forgot certain things, like when I hit those milestones, like I had over the top, like when I turned 16, my mom's mom forgot her 16th birthday.
Oh.
So when I turned 16.
Oh, your mom was the basis of 16 Candles?
I had a ball. I had a DJ. I got announced. My dad walked me in. I had a 4-tiered cake with my picture on everything. Like, it was fabulous. Like, all of these things. So when I was a senior and it was prom, I got a beautiful ball gown that was like a beaded bodice and like, you know, A-line skirts and satin. Bitch. And it was, it was like, it was over the top, but it was also like very classy and whatever else. Like, but seriously, it is what I expect, like at this point in time in my life. I haven't been married. I have never been engaged, but like if I was going to spend money on a wedding dress, I would expect to spend the same amount of money on a wedding dress that I did on my senior prom dress.
Yeah.
And so, like, I had this beautiful thing that but I ordered when I was a senior in high school, it was a size 10. Now, when I was a senior in high school, I was a cheerleader and I was like, I played volleyball.
Like my jeans only have a single digit.
Yeah, it was like whatever, but it was a size 10 dress, but I wore a size 5. And I'm like, this, like in high school, that is devastating.
Oh, yeah.
Devastating because you're like, why am I a size? Oh, no. It's like, oh, I'm at a size 10. This is not okay. Like, it's just not. But it's like, no, you're a size 5. It's just for some reason, boutiques and things that sell fancy dresses, all of those sizes are like ridiculously smaller.
But why? I don't understand. I want a measurement. Go off our bra measurements. That's normal size. Like, do you know how much time you probably do it too?
Yeah.
Do you know how much time I spend on Etsy trying to figure out what the fuck the chest width is of a? I'm like, are you talking chest circumference or chest width? Because if you're talking chest circumference, that's not possible. And if you're talking chest width, I wear a 3X. Are you kidding?
Okay, so here's the other thing.
Oh, by the way, don't purchase anything off goddamn Groupon.
Oh, yeah. No, that's worse. Well, so here's the thing. So I worked out of college. The job I got from my college, which this is super exciting. So I spent $70,000 to go to college. And when I got my degree, my guidance counselor was like, oh, I know the woman who's opening this store at this mall. And she's the manager and she can give you a job. And I was like, okay, I need to make money because I have like loans and things now. So yeah, I'll take it. But like literally this is the job I'm getting out of college. So I worked at a Victoria's Secret.
I love Victoria's Secret. I haven't worn their bra since I was like 5, but okay.
I will say I love Victoria's Secret. And when I worked there, I loved them because I will say their product lasted longer.
And you got a hell of a discount.
And when you work there, you get a hell of a discount because every time they came out with a new bra, if it was like a brand new thing, they would give you one for free.
Right.
And if they came out with a new version of something, it was $10.
See, I worked at Victoria's Secret catalog.
Oh, nice.
And we got the 50% discount at all of the. There was a time that limited brand owned everything.
Oh, no. Well, limited brands, we got. Yeah. So I worked at Victoria's Secret, so I would get like the good discount on the bras. Right. I still got like a 40% discount, I think, across brands.
Yeah, the catalog got 50% across everything.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so like Structure. Ooh, let's take you guys back. There was a thing called Structure where we made our boyfriends wear hot sweaters.
Oh my God, Structure doesn't exist anymore, does it?
Does the Limited even exist anymore?
Limited, I know, went out of business, but I don't know if they exist anymore.
What was his name? Les Weckman? Les
Wexner.
Well, Les Wexner.
And lives in Upper Arlington, Ohio.
Is he still alive?
Northeastern suburb of Columbus. I don't know. That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
But I know they broke up the stuff just like because
they also owned White Barn Candle and Bath and Body Works.
They owned Cacique. They owned Lane Bryant. They owned Limited, The Express. They owned, I'm pretty sure at some point they owned Gap.
I remember when I worked at Victoria's Secret,
I'm pretty sure they owned Gap.
I heard that Victoria's Secret's profits paid for Limited to stay open.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Profit.
I wouldn't doubt it. But
yeah.
The fucking Limited was so awesome.
It was so good for work clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were tiny.
That's true.
And now I don't understand. Neither of us are like in the prime of our physique, but I still like where I am. I'm not going to body shame. I like where I'm at. Yeah. I don't really give a shit. Maybe I'm that's okay it. I just don't give a shit.
Like, I'm at the point where I'm like, I need to lose a little weight just because, like, I'm getting to the age where it's also like you've got to start worrying about your cholesterol and diabetes and all that other shit.
Yeah, once you get over 40, like, you can't get rid of this shit.
Yeah.
But I'm okay. I'm okay with certain things. Like, I've been keto forever. I'm sitting here drinking, like, thankfully there's seltzer that does not have carbs, but we're keto. And by we, I mean my boyfriend who has maintained like a 45-pound weight loss, and me who sneaks out and gets Dairy Queen.
Oh.
I love a Dairy Queen Blizzard.
I lost 7 pounds in 2 weeks.
And you felt good about it.
Because I got COVID.
Oh, there you go. Oh, so...
That's
COVID.
The only reason.
No, wait a minute. But how did the COVID happen?
I don't know. Okay, so here's the thing. There is a
Did you have to contact trace yourself, or did they ask you like 9,000 people?
Okay, so this is the thing. I had to
You don't know how it happened.
I literally, okay, so there's all right, so I was maybe a very irresponsible person for a week. I went and got my hair done. I was part of a group of people that would hang out once a week, but like we always hung out with each other. So it seemed like a small group, but then there was also a couple other things that happened.
Stragglers.
Well, stragglers. And it's like, I had to go to the gas station and fill up my car. And I went to the grocery store to get groceries. And like, my significant other definitely pointed out Like, I could have gotten it at the big things, but also I could have just gotten it at the grocery store.
Oh, that's helpful of him.
Yes, very helpful.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, so there's a myriad of things that I could have gotten it from, but there's like a 6-day period that I know that that's where I contracted it, because I went to I got blood work done, which I got a little toasty the night before. So
I bet your liver enzymes looked
my triglycerides.
Awesome.
Like, she was like, all right, you need to drink more water. And I was like, yeah, I was real dehydrated. Because you have to fast beforehand. And I'm also like, when you have to
fast means stop drinking at like 12.
Right. But she's like, it's fasting, but like, you don't have to stop drinking water.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did nobody explain that to you before ever? Oh, we need to put that in the book of how to adult.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they explained it, but for some reason in my brain, like, fasting to me is like, I can't do anything.
So anybody who hears this, you can have black coffee.
Yeah.
Don't, because it's dehydrating unless you have water, but you can have all the water you goddamn
drink
want.
all the water. Seriously,
drink water. Because otherwise nobody's going to be able to hit a vein. Right. I used to be in a profession where you had to hit veins. Oh. Veins are horrible to hit if you're a heroin addict or if you don't drink water.
I will say my veins are horrible to hit anyway. So like the fact that I apparently didn't drink enough water. So like, she's like, I just need you to drink more water. And I'm like, all right. And then apparently my triglycerides, which is the cholesterol and whatever else.
It's the fat fluffy. I have a medical thing. It's it's your fat fluffy stuff in your blood.
Yeah, it was so high she couldn't get readings on other things. So she's like making me go get it retested. And I'm like,
you had a false high in your fat fluffy shit.
Like, I feel like maybe I ate a ton of mac and cheese the night before. I don't know.
No, that doesn't. It's not. Okay.
I don't know. She was like, if you eat a lot of fatty stuff, like that's what'll make your triglycerides really spike.
I mean, they don't mean just like that hour.
So I don't know. So I have to go get that retested. But other than that, like everything else is like beautiful. She's like, you're not diabetic and you're not da-da-da. So I'm like, oh, it's
good when you're personally fluffy. Hearing that you're not diabetic is a win.
It really is, because I'm like, I feel very fluffy right now. I like that we're calling this fluffy because it sounds way more.
You're like, yeah, my grandpa lost a foot, but let's call it fluffy.
Yeah, I like it. I'm like, oh, I'm not fat. I'm fluffy.
Yeah, I mean, we don't mean to rip off Gabriel Iglesias. We'll throw that out to him, but. Before he did it, there were t-shirts said, ooze not fat, ooze fluffy.
Yeah, I like it. I'm fluffy. I'm a little fluffy. So, my cholesterol was a little high, but it was mostly my triglycerides.
If
so
you're
I need
fluffy, I'm the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
So I got blood work done on a Friday and they automatically tested for COVID, which I didn't know they were going to do, but they did anyway.
All right. Well, good for them.
And it came back negative.
It's responsible.
Great. Fantastic. Yeah, it was responsible.
Okay. So wait, let's go back. So you were negative.
I was negative on a Friday.
And then when did you first get your symptoms?
Next Thursday.
Okay. So 6 days later.
So there's literally a week where I could have gotten it, but like I got my hair done. So it was.
But there were people and there's things and there's possibilities.
It was just the two of us in the salon and like, whatever. And then, yeah, so there was also a couple of things that we like hung out, and there was also like a family event I attended. So, and then I started getting symptoms like on Thursday of the next week. And the only reason I got tested, because here's the problem. I have allergies. Like, and when I say I have allergies, like I'm literally allergic to everything except for dogs and feathers. Because when I hit 35, which I'm aging myself now, when I hit 35 years old, all of a sudden everything itched all the time. Like by
everything you mean everything.
Like there was one day where I came home and the backyard was getting mowed and it was all fresh cut grass, and I love the smell of fresh cut grass. Like in the summertime, like there's nothing better to me than like fresh cut grass.
What I missed about
when
I lived in Florida. Fresh cut grass does not smell the same.
It
sounds exactly the same, but it doesn't smell the same.
It does not smell the same. Is it? Yeah, I've been down to Florida. It's just not the same thing. So when you're living in the Midwest, like in the summertime, fresh cut grass is like this great.
It's the best smell in the world. Like
really
if it rained the night before, or if it's dewy, and so you can't cut grass in certain conditions if you all live outside of the Midwest.
Yeah.
But if it's been dewy and you cut the grass when it's fat and full of dew,
it's so good.
There's nothing that smells better unless you have allergies.
I literally walked in the back gate. And I would say from the back gate to my back porch is maybe I don't know, 50 feet.
Yeah.
100 feet tops. Because I have no concept of distance.
Yeah.
But like literally between that gate and the back porch, all of a sudden I got to the back porch and my legs from top to bottom were just red bumps everywhere.
Oh, that's not good.
And I was like, what is this? What just happened?
Those are called hives.
Yeah. So I went to, like, I called the doctor. I took pictures. I, like, sent it to him online because, you know, everything now is online.
Right.
And it's like you can submit things on your chart and whatever else. And so I'm, like, submitting pictures. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And, I broke out in red bumps everywhere. I have a rash on my legs. I don't know what's happening.
It is not an STI. It does not have an STI.
I'm like, this has never happened before. And, like, it took until I was 35. And then all of a sudden, I have late onset adult allergies, which I've always had, like, seasonal allergies. Like in the spring and in the fall, I've always had,
I feel like I'd be better being late onset lesbian than I don't want allergies. Lesbians would bring you pretty girls.
I tell you what, the like earlier in my life, it was like, oh, spring and fall, I have to take an allergy pill here or there when I need it. No, now I take 2 allergy pills every day for the whole year.
Seriously,
because I have year-round allergies now. So, like, I'm allergic to grass. I'm allergic to trees. So, like, if I'm standing in a meadow...
Oh, you're living in a state with a lot of grass and or trees.
Right. So, like...
Together.
Those... Okay,
same
so
place.
You know how, like, in the end of summer, like, beginning of fall, where, like, those little puffy white things start falling out of the trees and are floating around? Like, I look at those now and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta run away. Like, I literally sprint the opposite direction because if one of those hits me, all of a sudden I'm, like, snotting and, like, there's just, like... You can't...
I keep leading us away from this, but so you were snotty.
Yeah.
And you felt bad.
Yeah.
And you thought it was allergies. And we were 6 days past some blood work.
Oh, yeah. So the COVID thing. So I have horrible allergies. So I just assumed I have a sinus infection.
This is what happens with drunk people. I'm so sorry. But just get used to it. This is our platform.
Yeah. So I get sinus infections like 4 times a year because of my allergies. Because I'm allergic to everything. Dust, mold, whatever. So I was like, oh, clearly I'm getting another sinus infection because, like, you know, I have a dry cough and I have, like, a slight fever now. But the problem is this is on a Friday. I woke up and I had a slight fever, a dry cough. And I was like, I go to the doctor quite often. And I had my annual physical scheduled. And I knew I had a negative COVID test from the week before because I went and got my blood work, which... I was going to the doctors to get my, like, you know, annual physical.
Your girl
on that
time.
Next Monday,
Your girly stuff.
It was, well, no, it wasn't even my girly stuff.
Oh, really?
My girly stuff
just
I did in July.
Physical stuff.
This was just my physical stuff with the family practitioner.
I try and avoid my family practitioner. I just do it all with the girly stuff. And then we'll get to that with, like, why I don't even have to fucking care.
I love my family practitioner. She's fantastic. I love her. She, like, sits down and talks to you. Like, today I actually had my appointment. So the thing was I was like, okay, so this was on Friday and my annual appointment was supposed to be on Monday. So I emailed my doctor and it was like, hey, just to let you know, I woke up this morning and I had a dry cough. I had a bit of a fever.
I feel like ass.
I was like, yeah, I feel very fatigued. I was like, normally I would chalk it up to a sinus infection because this is what happens. I was like, but we're living in COVID times. Do you think it would be prudent to get a test? And the nurse immediately emailed me back and I was like, yes, absolutely, get a test.
Bitch, don't come here.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I have an appointment on Monday. I was like, so can you call in an appointment? Because, like, you can go and get free tests at, like, CVS, Walgreens, and all that kind of stuff. But also there's urgent cares that you can go to that'll get you in quicker if you have a doctor's thing. Right. So I was like, hey, can you write me a doctor's thing so I can get into the urgent care and do it quick? So they did. So Saturday morning, I went and got tested. And on Monday morning, the doctor's office called me and was like, hey, so it looks like you're getting a COVID test. And I was like, yeah, I did it on Saturday. And they said I'd get it in 48 hours, but I still haven't gotten it. They're like, all right, we're going to cancel your appointment. So just let us know when you get your test results back. And they literally rescheduled me because they're so packed. We had to reschedule it for a month later.
Right.
Which I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. That's because my blood work's still whatever. So,
I explained that. It dashed some hopes and dreams of mine. We'll do that later.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. So we rescheduled my appointment, which ended up happening today. And
congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And then it came back positive. And then it was like, okay, now you need to quarantine. And I was like, all right, cool.
Like, I don't feel that bad. Oh, you were like the Monty Python thing. Like, I'm still alive.
Yeah. It was really weird because it was like when I first got the symptoms, it was like, I have a dry cough and a fever. But my fever was only 99.7. So I'm like, whatever, it's fine. Literally, the fever lasted for like 10 days.
Horrible. And was it low grade like that the whole time?
It was low grade like that until the last like 2 or 3 days.
Oh, but that's when like the virus count is upticking and your body's fighting the hardest.
And that's when it spiked and it got up to like 101.8. And I was like, why?
I feel like death.
Yeah. I was like, I feel awful.
I'm sorry. We know that this has killed other people, but fevers, no matter what you have it for, make you feel like death.
They make you feel awful. And I was like, okay. So then when it spiked, it was like, because I was constantly taking over.
Is this the new beginning or is this the end?
Well, and that's the problem is because the entire course of it, I was taking Tylenol and Advil. So I used to have
Which is great. Mm-hmm. It's good for you. Vicodin won't help this.
So, and I can't take Vicodin. I'm allergic to it.
Really? Mm-hmm. I'm allergic to Percocet. We're living in a world that hates us.
Oh my God. Yeah. Pain pills. I can't. It's just vomit instantly. So my ex-stepmother was a pharmacist.
Oh, ex-stepmother. I was like, your stepmother, not mother-in-law. Okay. No. I was like, we were going to go into an entirely different story and leave COVID behind, but stepmother, go ahead.
But she was a pharmacist. So I learned a lot about pills and things like that, which sounds.
Was she the kind of pharmacist that would correct when you said a medication wrong? You're like, bitch, you knew what I meant.
Right.
Yeah.
No, she was very much so. She was very knowledgeable. So I'll give her that. So, but I learned a lot from her because it's like one of those things where like a normal person doesn't know acetaminophen is the same thing as Tylenol.
Right.
So I learned a lot of things like that. And it's like, oh, I can buy ibuprofen. I don't need to buy Advil.
Right.
And I'm saving myself $10.
This is true. This is true.
I learned those kind of things. But like the whole time I had a fever, I was taking. And this is something I learned because especially when I get sinus infections a lot, I get very severe sinus infections where I have a fever. I'm totally leaving that in. All right, I'll be right
back. We were into a very intense conversation about COVID and COVID symptoms.
Yeah.
And then I knocked my hard seltzer over on the entire table, which led us to scramble.
Uh-huh.
So the childlike oomph that you heard, number one, is my Midwestern charm because when we run into anything, we say oop and or oomph.
Oop, oop,
you know, oop, oop. Yeah. It's just, I have done it to a mannequin. I've backed into a mannequin and been like, oh, ma'am, sorry.
Sorry. Yep.
And as I said oop, I realized it was not a ma'am. And still continue with my apology. So our apology to you. We're really going to leave as much as that as possible. This is the charm of the goddamn podcast. But can we just take a step back? You started feeling like shitty feverish on Thursday night.
Yeah.
When did you get your test?
I got my test on Saturday. I got my results the next Wednesday.
Okay. So you felt like shit for Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, etc.
I mean, I felt like shit, but also not that shitty. Because honestly,
from just felt low grade shitty, like low key fuck
from
COVID.
The Thursday that I started getting like symptoms to the next Wednesday when I got my test results, I will say my fever was only ever between 99 and 99.7, which was very low grade.
It is low grade, but it's like the thing that makes you feel shitty. Like I either want to have a fever, or I don't want to. I don't want you to make me feel shitty.
I just felt tired. And like occasionally I'd have this dry cough because the dry cough thing was not like a constant. It was just an occasional thing if I happened to like go up and down the stairs.
Right.
And it was like, okay, so if I don't walk up and down the stairs, then I don't cough.
If I just stay in my living room, fuck it.
I'm just going to stay in the living room on the couch and I'm good. But yeah, so by the time I got my test results.
To be kitchen adjacent and feel well.
It was good. But yeah, so by the time I got results, like I called the doctor and I'm like, what the fuck does this mean? They were like, you have COVID. You need to drink all the fluids and stay inside and don't talk to people and da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, cool. Just like, I just needed to know because like I couldn't read the test results because I don't know what I'm looking at.
But also, was that the first day they got the results back? Like,
was that Wednesday?
Yeah. Oh shit.
That was it.
So I've had it done one time, but I've also been like swabbed for flu. I've been swabbed for MRSA colonization because I worked with somebody who was immunocompromised. They wanted to make sure like which one of us as assistants could work with her. And so like, I just didn't, maybe the person who dealt with me was very gentle and it was like my first time, but like when I had it done, I was not like as brain pokey as everybody said it would be.
I will say I've had brain pokey and I've had non-brain pokey. So through the whole pandemic, I've tested, I don't know, a handful of times, maybe like 4 or 5 times.
You were amongst the public way too often.
Well, I was amongst the public, but also I have allergies that I panic about when I get, because I know I get sinus infections 4 times a year, and like we were hitting fall.
Right.
So it was like anytime I got allergy symptoms where I was like, oh crap, I think I'm getting a sinus infection. There was also that like little grain of doubt that it was like, am I getting COVID or am I getting
this is like a hypochondriac's nightmare.
Yes, it really was. So it was one of those things where it was like, okay, the first time I got tested was because somebody at my office had tested positive. So like I went and got a test just to be safe because I worked in the same general vicinity as them, which I had no symptoms. I didn't think I had it, but it was like, okay, I work in the same vicinity as somebody who had it, so I'm going to go get tested just to make sure that I'm good.
Right.
So I did, and I did a urgent care visit, and like the nurse came out to the car and she did it. Now, I will say in January of this year, before the whole COVID thing had broken out,
right,
I had a friend who had tested positive for flu. And then I got a fever for like 3 days straight.
Can we just say that if you test positive for flu, it doesn't preclude you from having COVID.
Right.
Don't get your medical information from us. But okay, if you test positive for flu, it is not COVID. If you test positive for flu and COVID, congratulations, you have 2 separate goddamn viruses. Right. But the flu and COVID are not the same thing.
They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. So I had a friend
George Soros is not.
So anyway. I had a friend who tested positive for flu in January, and then I got really sick and like I had a really high fever for 3 days that I couldn't get rid of, and I was lethargic and like whatever. So I went to the doctor and I got tested for the flu. So I had to do the swab test for the flu, which is very much so like the doctor sticking a Q-tip up your nose and it feels like they're poking your brain out.
Right.
So I ended up testing negative for that. But also, like, I was down for 3 days with a fever and everything else.
Oh, so maybe you had some COVID then.
Well, that's the thing. So I have no idea. And so I'm like...
But still, you got COVID again.
But that's the thing.
You either got it once or again.
Right. So I've either had it once or twice. And, like, there's a part of me that almost, like, when I went into the doctor...
Should be a part of a medical study.
I should be. Well, so that's the thing. But in January...
Okay, but when you're alive, it's probably very uncomfortable.
I would think so. I'm sure there's a lot of poking, and I don't want to deal with the poking.
I mean, I want to be dedicated to the FBI bodyguard, but... not now.
No. Like, I'm okay getting poked and prodded, but also I'd prefer that after I'm dead. Like, right. I don't want that happening while I'm still alive.
Just in case anybody has this, I'm going to be buried in a hatchback Honda at the FBI bodyguard.
I like that.
In a trunk of some kind. It should be a Honda.
It seems very...
I don't have any reason for it, but it should be a Honda because I don't think you're going to get a 1970 Camaro, which is what would be the most awesome thing ever. But...
I mean, I feel like that seems very serial killer. Also, on a side note, my magneto lashes are gone, which is fine because I don't care.
Probably, they are most likely in the napkins.
In a rag or a napkin, which is fine because I just set up 5 of them.
James is bringing us Taco Bell on a platter.
You're so good. Thank you so much.
So how long were you, like, you had the fever, but then how long were you, like, down?
So it was really weird, though, because, like, all right, so I started on that Thursday, got my test results back the next Wednesday. And between that Thursday and the Wednesday, I would say I had a low-grade fever, 99.1 to 99.7, and I had a dry cough occasionally that would come up. And then after that Wednesday, I would say maybe a couple more days, I still had a fever, but then over the weekend, the fever got worse. Then I ended up having like a fever of like a 101.8, I think at some point. And then after the fever got worse, my symptoms kind of changed. And then my lungs, like I could feel it in my chest. Yeah, and it was very much so like it felt tight, but it also is if I was laying in bed or if I was laying on the couch watching TV, I was fine. As long as I was in a comfortable position where I was kind of like propped up a little bit, but I was breathing, it was fine. But in my house, I have a 2-story house and the bathrooms are all on the 2nd floor. So if I was downstairs watching TV, I would go upstairs to go use the restroom. And it's like, as soon as I got upstairs to go use the restroom, I would literally sit down on the toilet and I would start having a coughing fit because I was so like, my lungs just hurt from walking up the stairs.
Right.
And so there was like a good 2 to 4 days of me not being able to walk up and down the stairs without having a coughing fit and like bending over and not being able to breathe. But then as soon as I would like go lay on the couch or lay on the bed and get in a comfortable position where I could breathe, it was fine. So it was like, okay, so I just need to make sure that I'm in a comfortable like laying position. And then I got a humidifier with like the hot mist stuff, which really helped.
Oh, really? Warm mist is like, if you guys are going to do it, warm mist is the way to go. It's more expensive. However, cold mist still works if like your fucking heating system doesn't have humidification, or this is completely layman's shit. But anyway, if your own heating system, whole house does not have humidification, get a cold humidifier. It's fine. I will tell you this, it's going to keep your goddamn bedroom a lot colder than you want it to be. I am a cold sleeper.
Yeah.
I bought my partner a lot of damn blankets. Like, we have blankets out the wazoo because I want to be a cold sleeper. But a warm mist humidifier is the best thing God ever created. Mm-hmm. It will, depending on your location. I have actually woken up to a room where I'm like, that's too much. It's a little too much. There's a lot, but it isn't the same cold, hard humidification that you get. So you got a warm humidifier. That's the best thing ever. Mm-hmm. But if you get a cold humidifier, it does what it needs to do. Just don't do it when you have like a lung infection.
Yeah. So that's the thing. After I got the warm mist humidifier, that made a world of difference. Like, world of difference. I would wake up in the morning, I was like, I feel so much better. Now, I will say my partner is a cold sleeper as well, and he likes to have the fans on, which I feel like the fans on before wasn't a problem for me, but once I started having the symptoms and everything, being in that room with the fans on was a no-go, because it just dried out the air, and it was hard to breathe, and I was always freezing and everything else. So I was like, once I hooked up the humidifier and did the warm air humidifier and everything, it's great. And I haven't been using it for the past like week, but I'm almost kind of like, I want to go back to using it more, because I've woken up with, my allergies are back and the sinuses and everything else. And I'm like, I feel like when I had that going all night long, like I felt better when I woke up.
Right. I do the same thing. I have a cold mist humidifier by the side of the bed, because even though I'm getting the humidification, or we have a whole house humidifier, but unless the heat is running, humidifier is not running, and somebody complains that I snore.
Oh no, I totally snore all the time.
Oh, yeah. So freight train, but it apparently has helped a little that I have not. What the hell is that? That's a tomato. It has helped a lot in that sense, but I mean, the warm air would be nicer, but I just don't want to spend the money on it. And our room is cramped, and we're trying to make the best of the space that we have while the housing market is up and down. I cannot wait for this vaccine to come out. So, spin the chamber, gun to your head. You're not guaranteed to be immune for a long time. I think they gave you guidance as to 3 months. And would you get the vaccine? Like, the one. That one did not have alcohol in it. Thank God. It once did. But gun to your head, would you get the 1-step or the 2-step? I want the Dolly Parton one just because, but still, anyway.
I mean, I didn't know there was a Dolly Parton one, and I would totally get a Dolly Parton one.
I think she helped fund the Moderna one, and the Pfizer one just came out, and it's 2-step, and I'm waiting for the Moderna. But regardless, I don't have an option.
So I will say, regardless, either one, whatever one comes out first to where I'm available, because it's going to go out to healthcare workers first, and then, elderly care facilities and things like that. And so I feel like whatever one comes, I'm absolutely getting it as soon as I can, because I'm also one of those people that I'm not shocked that I got it.
Right.
Because I am one of those people that literally, if I'm within 500 feet of anybody with a sinus infection, I'm going to get sick.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, you have a stomach bug and you're within a mile of me, I'm going to get sick. I always, and I want to say that I have a really bad immune system, but at the same time, I feel like the constant getting sick and stuff, I feel like my immune system is constantly building itself up too at the same time.
I mean, I felt that way when I worked for doctors' offices. I was like, I am apparently immune to everything. Yeah. Including the plague, which I think there's something to it. I almost, so I am pro-mask. Mm-hmm. I am pro keeping your shit to yourself.
Right.
I am say shit under your breath, aggressive about masks. I'm not going to confront some people I just read excuse me, read an article on my way in here and I was like, confronting people comes. Okay, there we go. Confronting people comes with its own issues.
Right.
Oh, I got drunk hiccups. We knew it would happen eventually. So, I don't confront people about the mask shit.
Right.
I don't confront people about like the vaccine shit unless they're batshit crazy about like George Soros. And I'm like, oh, I'll die. Just jump into a flame. I will point out to you my friend who actually has COVID right now. You go stand beside them. If you're going to die, that's great. This is where we should do it.
Yeah.
But I want to get the vaccine, but I don't want to be... Clearly, I'm not a frontline worker. This is super. This is going to sound great on the podcast, me hiccuping every 5 seconds.
I love it.
I'm not a frontline person. I don't think that they should be required to, but also there's this whole thing where people are like, can my employer require me to? And where we're at, they've actually said, yeah, they can require you to. Thank you. They can.
Yeah.
And so, but I've also worked in jobs where they required hepatitis A, hepatitis B. Take this whole nacho platter away from us. I guess I'm saying is I would really like to have the vaccine, but I'm not a frontline worker. It doesn't matter. I walked that fine line of like, should I get it or should I not? I'm worried about the vaccine court. This is going to be beautiful. I insist we keep this all in. It's going to be about the. I was really worried about the vaccine court because there's only so much you can get when it comes to a vaccine if something harmful happens. But I'm at a point that I have to decide whether it's more detrimental to my livelihood if I do not. Now, that being said, I don't think we're going to be on the Pfizer top 100. I would like to be on the Moderna. I would like to be on the Moderna one, not just because I love Dolly Parton, but because I love our country. Yay! Look at you fucking red hat bitches. But I do want to get it. I'm fine with getting it. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm a great guinea pig. Only because I love people who cannot get it.
Yeah. So I'm, when it comes to vaccines and things like that, like, because I'm always sick, I feel like I'm one of those people that is like, they're like, oh, you need to get this vaccine. I'm like, yeah, sure. Stab me. I'm good. Like, just do it. Because I have had, so I've had shingles twice.
Oh my God, you're super young for that.
Yeah. Stupid young, which apparently it is stress related, which, at the age that I am is...
But again, you're super young for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's very much so. The first time I had it, I was 17. All right.
Jesus Christ.
I was 17, and it was on the entire...
Were you losing a kidney? Like, was somebody chasing you down
just
a blind
school,
alley?
You know, high school, and you're, like, turning into a senior and, like, trying to get into college and, like, you know...
Oh, and you bitches thought you had stress. Brandy had stress.
Oh, yeah. Like, there was super stress. And I also... this is the great part. So, when I got it, when I was 17, it was during the summer, and I worked at a car wash in the tunnel.
I really wish we could insert the car wash audio, but we cannot.
Oh, yeah. No, that's too expensive. But so I worked in the car wash tunnel, so it was like I would get into the cars and like do the windows on the inside and everything else and whatever else.
Did you put them on the glass?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Okay. And this is also where I learned how to drive a stick shift, which, sorry, people, if you ever came through the car wash while I worked there and I practiced on your car, I really apologize if I ruined your clutch. But, so I learned how to drive a stick shift, pulling cars out of the car wash tunnel, but also like doing the, but so when I was 17, I got shingles when I worked, and like anybody who's had shingles, like most people that have had them are probably not listening to the podcast because you have been under the age of 6 months or over the age of 60.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like they're super painful. They attach to your nerves, whatever. So when I had them, it was basically like a rash on the side of my body. And it was very uncomfortable. It wasn't as painful as it should have been. But it was like whenever I was in the tunnel and I would get wet and the shirt would stick to my side, it would rub on the rash and then it would like hurt a little bit.
This is not even what anybody expects to hear on a hot, wet t-shirt car wash.
Yeah. No, 17-year-old hot wet t-shirt, and it was rubbing my shingles. So as an adult, when they finally came out with a shingles vaccine, they were like, you need to get this. And I was like, why do I need to get a shingles vaccine? I've already had shingles. And they're like, yeah, but here's the thing. You're going to keep getting it.
Yeah,
and I was like,
yeah. You still got chicken pox.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, so if you get the vaccine, the next time you get shingles, it might not hurt so bad. And I'm like, all right, great. So like anytime there's a vaccine out, I'm like, yep, sign me up for that shit. Like I'm in. Like give it to me now because I don't want any of the other shit that happens because I had shingles when I was 17. I had it again in my 20s on my face. Like I thought I had acne, but no, it was just I had shingles.
Fucking blisters
down the side of my face.
Herpes on your face that weren't herpes.
The only reason I could tell it wasn't acne and it was shingles is because like you would touch it and it was like I would have like nerve pain like going down my back whenever I would touch my face, and I was like, I don't know what's happening.
Only
right
17-year-old on neurogabapentin.
Yeah. And I have a sharp shooting nerve pain, and I don't understand what's happening. All I'm doing is touching my chin. It's fine.
I love it. I don't love it. That's a horrible thing.
Yeah, but that's So like the whole vaccine thing to me is like I get sick so often that like they have a vaccine for something. I'm like, yes, can I have that, please? That would be great because I don't want to get sick anymore.
This is awesome. I have had a great time tonight. We have spilled some things.
Yeah, and
we have ate some things.
And now we have a giant thing of nachos in front of us, so I feel like we need to go eat that.
We're gonna eat these nachos. We're gonna finish those tacos.
Yeah.
I need more drinks.
Yeah.
Feel like being social with Drunk Bitches Be Like? Find us on Instagram and Twitter at DBBL_podcast. We're also on Facebook and YouTube, DBBL Podcast. And our website is DBBLpodcast, all one word, .com, DBBLpodcast.com, all one word. Go to our website and you can sign up for our email list. Whenever we do new episode drops, we will send out an email and notify you of when that is going to happen. You can also listen to episodes directly from our website. And we appreciate your attention and your time, and we will talk to you next week. We're going to talk about hysterectomies and being intentionally childless, not just because you want to be drunk, but
and I'm getting a mammogram.
And you're getting a mammogram. Is this your first?
It's my first.
Let's talk about mammograms and hysterectomies on our next one. We'll see you at our next drink. Thank you for joining us at Drunk Bitches Be Like, because this is what we be like.
Bye.
Bye.
Podcast.
Sorry.
No,
we're leaving the belches in because fuck it. This is called Drunk Bitches Be Like. They belch.
Supreme Taco Party Pack. Here's what we're getting. Do you like soft tacos or hard tacos?
I like soft tacos.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't mind hard tacos. I'm really either taco.
Okay.
I'm taco agnostic.
Perfect. I love soft tacos better, but last time I got yelled at for ordering all soft tacos.
Hard tacos just end up being a lot of fucking work.
Well, I feel like they don't reheat as well. So I'm going to just do a half soft taco, half hard taco. Nachos. And I'm going to get some nachos. Because why not?
Before we get started recording, where the fuck did we leave off?
Oh shit, I never stopped recording, so
you got a nachos box.
This is literally just a giant box of
Jesus
nachos.
Christ.
Oh fuck. It's not even like, it's literally just a giant box of nachos.
Who knew that I got drunk hiccups like this? This is fucking great.
I will say I'm enjoying this because normally I'm the one with hiccups, and I'm like,
oh, God bless you for editing this.
the tacos that got delivered were on point. Although I'm seeing a lot of jalapenos. I just really want cheese and sour cream.
I'll take the jalapenos.